So
Yeah.
I think the metaphor is like, so we are at war with these trolls, basically. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, and they aren't sincere. They're like playing chess with people who take the piece and throw it across the room.
Right.
They're not playing by the rules. And so I just see people who argue, I'm fair, I'm for, dialogue, and if somebody's not having dialogue,
I'm
then I
not
just
fair, and I'm biased
ignore them.
because I feel
Okay,
like
but
I.
I'm just saying that's like, fighting a war and saying we're going to be nice to these people, and when we, get out on the beach, we're going to engage in dialogue. You know, you're just going to get mowed down from
Yeah.
the cliffs with machine guns. And the equivalent of this in the metaphor is, you know foreign operatives who have troll accounts, corporations that have troll accounts, political parties that have troll accounts, people who are just assholes who
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go use the restroom.
entertainment.
I'm just
Sure.
gonna go ahead and
Okay,
continue
yeah,
without me.
it's time. Very nice.
Sure.
No,
Yeah, so
I'll be back. I'm just saying that I heard Edward say it's time, so I'm not time. I'm not
no,
stopping the
I'm just
comment.
saying it's certainly time
Okay.
to go to the bathroom. Yeah,
Oh yes.
Yeah.
small talk. So um yeah, I mean, this line,
Hmm.
I wonder why people don't want to cross this line. What is, and I see this as a difference in the German and American cultures, that
Hmm.
Germans are much more willing to just be what Americans would call rude. Like even in a restaurant, um uh I mean, it's just, if a waitress or a waiter is having a bad day, you feel it because they're
Yeah.
human. But you're never going to have the owner of the restaurant come and say, like on Fast Times at Ridgemont High, if you remember that movie, where
Just watched it actually with my kid.
really, okay, that,
I have an 18-year-old son, so
oh, okay, great. So you weren't polite to the customer,
mhm.
you're fired. You just
Right.
would never have that. And like just yesterday, I was in a little kiosk bookstore, and a man came in and had a whole bunch of problems. He was buying a lottery ticket,
Mhm.
and the 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 clerk said, "You and you you and you people with your damn lottery tickets." And because she was pissed off at, looking for, and all they want to
Yeah.
do is, make some money, and they're not going to make it. It's just human. But you
Right.
don't have this yeah, what is it, this afraid, this fear of being of saying what you want to say because you might offend somebody. It's just not in this culture, and I feel that helps democracy here in all
Right.
groups. People are
Well,
much more, just to catch you up, Emilio.
sure.
My only point was, that in the German culture, it's much more easy to let out your emotions if you offend people or not. That's changing, I think, but it's just a
I'm
characteristic
sorry
of
if I offended you guys by
of
saying
the
I
culture.
like the left leaning politics. I'm sorry.
It's not-
Okay.
I
Now,
don't get, I can't get offended, but and I think that's one reason. I mean, if you offend me, if you hurt my feelings, or if you say something, you say I'm short or something like that, I'll just say, well, what do you mean by short? Just be accurate, and
no, I recall you
I'll either
talking
agree
about
with
that
you
waitress
or
story that like waitress don't take any crap from the
yeah,
people.
that's what I
I
told. So
admire that. I like that.
you're caught up, and I think this is a characteristic of Americans. We're taught to be polite, and I mean this thing, and it comes from a 1938 Disney movie, I think Bambi, which
If you don't have
you
anything
you
nice
have
to say,
Don't
that's
don't
say
it.
say
at
anything
all.
at all.
And if you look it up, it's said by this chipmunk who's talking like a little baby. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
what Americans have become. They have to be polite. And my wife and I make fun of Americans all the time for this because it's just funny. It's like, we're, you
I
know,
think it actually goes
Americans have the
back
strongest
further, though.
military, but
Yeah.
we're babies. We hold little signs up to say free hugs, and it's like just manipulating people with emotions. I mean, that's just something that, although this free hug stuff is coming to Germany as well, but um, I wanted to. We actually saw somebody yesterday with a free hug sign, and I want to get a sign that says "free criticism," and stand next to her. And come up to me and I'll tell you my honest thoughts of you and we'll have a discussion. And I think that's better than giving free hugs.
Right. I
For
think,
instance.
well, I think that that actually goes back further even than that Disney movie. I think it comes back from the British heritage and the concept of polite society.
Yeah.
But then also, I
Mm.
think that, you know, specifically the weakening of the children generation after generation, which probably started post World War II, was that you have parents that don't want their kids to go through what they went through, and we're continually softening the challenges of the next generation, and we've been able to get away with it because we've been so economically prosperous.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like you don't
That's a good one.
have to go through that. In
That's
fact,
what my
I'm like, that's the hardest thing for me, is to make my kid do something that I feel's gonna be difficult for him, because I just remember my experiences.
That's
and I'm like,
weird
gosh,
because
dang it.
my family is Democrat, and I can compare my family with the Republican counterparts, and my cousins considerably depended on more on their parents than I did. I left at a very early age, been independent. I hear that talking point from many conservatives, but they're very hypocritical with that. I'm just like, wow, man, you had a benefactor for a large part of your life. And me, you know, as soon as I got 16, I got a job that was like what James was describing. That was my life. My dad was in the military. So I just see a lot of hypocrisy within my family sometimes when I see that. So that's another thing. I mean,
I just see that's more evidence for the terms Democrat, Republican, conservative have changed so much they're not meaningful. I mean,
that's why I don't look at it as a party. I do look at it as a
Yeah.
spectrum, and I do emphasize that. And I don't think you agree with that either. And that's cool. But you know, just to solve solutions, and when people, I want to give them a hook, and it's up to me to make a coherent argument, you know, and then just to make sure that it's not a toxic word anymore. We can use words without being offended, like you guys were saying. It's just a simple word to define which route we should take, inviting more government or allowing the
yeah,
private.
but I just don't think most
Mhm.
people would agree on that anymore. I mean,
Because that's the thing, that my criticism for you guys, you're like saying we should be more open to criticism. We should be more, you know, the wokeness. Well, what that same thing could be applied with what people consider toxic. What people are woke, they consider some rhetoric toxic to them. I mean, it's just the same thing to me. What you guys are saying, it's like it's toxic, and it seems like a woke vibe to me.
but open to criticism isn't
No,
talk.
I'm open to criticism.
Yeah, but open to criticism isn't woke, right? Those are opposites.
Yeah.
I imagine if you're woke, there's certain words that trigger you and certain criticism that trigger you. And
Yeah.
then y'all guys are
Any
triggered by
criticism
me saying
triggers them.
something that you
Yeah,
think
right.
it's, into your definition, it's toxic. And I don't want people to think any words are toxic. You know, that's like, let's have that conversation. It's just to
Well,
define the problem.
Okay. So you want to be free to use like Democrat and Republican.
No, I
Um,
never use,
or
I denied, I don't like the Democrat Party either. I'm like using
yeah,
the
but then
spectrum.
but what I don't understand about your position is what benefit do you see in continuing to talk with the terms left, right, liberal, and conservative? I mean, what benefit is that? Because I think you would agree that
Okay,
they're vague terms, they're changed. There are
no, I
Democrats
don't
who
agree with
identify
that.
as
You
okay.
could label demographics based on characteristics, and that's one way to get people to understand what you're trying to label a demographic as.
I think you used to be able to do that more
You can
accurately,
still do
but
that.
today, I
I
don't
mean,
think
like
so.
for example, I'll give you a good
I mean,
example.
I'm still registered as a Republican and am still Republican in this in the 1980 sense. You know, if we were in 1980s, I would register as a Republican again. I just haven't changed it.
Mhm.
But I don't identify with the Republican Party today at all.
Sure.
Although if somebody saw that I'm what my political affiliation is, they would think all things about me that are completely untrue. Like my former girlfriend did. She thinks I would storm the Capitol.
That's,
I mean, it's just completely
that's
inaccurate
the cool
terms.
thing about the conversation we're having, because I don't think James would have ever thought he would vote for Trump, but he ended up voting for Trump. I mean, the thing is,
happened. That
I know.
shocked me.
I know. So you can't, I understand that. And that's something that You know, that's just how it is. I mean, but the thing is, how are you going to define that?
Why do I have to? You know, it was an instance where, you know, it was him or Biden. And the other thing that I didn't like about Biden is the fact that Kamala Harris was up behind him, and I didn't even think Biden was going to live 6 months
She's
into
such a word salad
No,
mess.
yeah,
That woman.
I concur.
So like that's a big part of that too. If he had Tulsi, Andrew Yang, Bernie Sanders,
See,
even Elizabeth Warren.
It's interesting to hear what you guys are saying. I didn't look at that. I looked at his policy. He said infrastructure.
I don't even know. Is Tulsi Gabbard? Is she Republican or
I
Democrat?
think
I don't know.
She's.
It shouldn't matter, really.
She's probably still registered Democrat, but I think she's effectively left the party.
Is she
She's
Democrat?
been hanging out. She was.
She is Democrat. Okay.
I mean, that's what she ran under, but I think, you know,
you can't tell anymore.
So you guys are talking about his running mate. I didn't look at that. I mean, I don't like Kamala, but he was talking about addressing infrastructure in the same charitableness.
Biden was talking about addressing infrastructure.
Back better. That's an infrastructure deal.
And Trump. Okay, first of all, let me just say one thing about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Build Back Better. That is an incoherent version of Make America Great Again. That's all it was. It was so stupid.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
two versions of Make America Great Again. Just as when was America ever great?
Make America Great did not. What was the infrastructure policies that were in that? That was just a catchphrase.
No,
Build Back Better was legislation.
He was trying to get back to a better economic time for a lot of like the rural America.
When people did infrastructure projects.
What's up?
I mean, back in the time, that's why I asked Trump supporters, what time period are you referencing? What time period?
No, like we had explosive growth after World War II.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is that
what were the corporate tax rates back then?
I don't remember. Extremely.
And what was the level of racism back then?
Yeah,
you don't want to go back to that.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're pivoting to something. I'm talking about like
you would want to go back
investing
to those
in infrastructure,
but including all of the, you know, the black people and
I can tell you what the core. I'm not asking you these questions because I don't know the answers to. I can tell you what they are. That's why when I do say I'm a leftist, it's a hook. It's intentional to get your attention.
But it might be a hook for you just because you're in a hornet's nest of people on the right? I mean,
no.
But
I mean, I want to go.
I just don't understand why these terms are useful. I think they're very vague.
Because again, I haven't been vague with any of the things I say. I'm giving you specific.
But every time you use left, it's vague because there's people who understand it completely differently, and it's changing.
That's my job to make a coherent argument, and now I'm giving you specifics right now.
The problem, Emiliano,
if anyone's being vague, it's James right now. He compared Build Back Better to MAGA.
Because it's exactly the same. It's a slogan that was supposed to be catchy. That's it.
Yeah, I really don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Yeah, what?
I mean,
or tell us what, or tell us what he said he would do and didn't, basically.
MAGA was not a legislation process. It was just a catchphrase. That's all it was.
Well, he did want to build a wall, and he did build a wall, right, or something like that.
Yeah, but he called that some other name. He did. That was just MAGA. Trump was MAGA. Right. Trump was MAGA.
But MAGA, the concept of MAGA, before it got maybe turned a little bit more.
You don't like the fact of getting rid of lead pipes in rural communities? You don't like the fixed bridges? I mean, that was part of the infrastructure. I mean, there was a lot of pork in there. I will not say there was no waste in there. But what I would like to see is them passing something and then go ahead and try to take that pork out and do the work as politicians. But they won't do that.
But they sent the money to the Ukraine.
Yeah. I'm simply actually just talking about the slogan itself. Build Back Better, MAGA. And in terms of what substance there was or wasn't to either of them, the same amount. So an infrastructure is a very specific goal, but MAGA was an economic goal. The difference being
that's why I asked the time period of when he's referencing it, because it's not going to be
probably referencing the explosive growth post World War II, but with the key difference of all races should be equally included.
Okay.
That's why you
corporate
have a bunch of
taxation during that
that's why you have a
time.
bunch of Black people and Latinos that have moved
Okay.
in
Trump
that
did the
direction.
opposite of MAGA when it comes to economics. And of course, it's not like the same social stigma with minorities. But back in the days when Trump was referencing MAGA, you could probably see corporate tax rates going up to 75. And Eisenhower went up almost to 95% corporate tax rates. Of course, there was loopholes, but they were able to fund massive infrastructure projects due to government taxation of corporations and also funding all that. So that's what I try to ask Trump supporters when
Right,
they're
but
like
there was
referencing.
more home ownership for individuals in
Yeah.
like the entire country.
Because corporations paid their share of taxes to cover the cost instead of us.
I don't see how that's the case. You'd have to kind of
We
show
paid
me how that links
Well,
together.
come to Texas, you'll just see nothing but toll roads. You're going to be coming out of your pocket.
Really? Toll roads? It's like driving through France.
I was gonna say I have no toll roads here.
We got Google fact check me.
We got
Really?
tolls on bridges. That's it.
Yeah, because you guys are more.
We have a high.
left leaning.
What's your sales tax?
Yeah, but it's
That is relevant to label
because
the
they're more
leadership
left leaning.
there.
I mean, why bring in these terms? I don't see
Why
what.
are you triggered by that, Edward? I mean,
Because
the thing is,
I'm
there's
not
a
triggered. I'm
solution.
not triggered.
He's not paying toll roads. I am. Why?
I'm against that for the same reason why if we were just saying I'm for good people and I'm for goodness. I stand for goodness. Do you too?
Those are not
I mean,
the same comparisons. I'm paying
Well,
toll roads.
right.
He's not.
Goodness
That's not nothing to
is-
go to good people or bad people. This is toll roads, no toll roads.
Right. I'm for speaking about toll roads or no toll roads, but I'm not. What I'm commenting on is when you said, "Oh, in California they have toll roads," that's leftist. We don't know. I mean, it depends who you talk to.
Wait, California has a way higher income tax rate than anywhere.
You guys also make more money there too. Your wages are higher too.
That's just because that's where the industry.
And plus, you have better insurance to cover the cost to help. I'm not saying it's better there. I'm pretty sure there's some cons, but that's what's cool about talking to you because you're from California.
Businesses are leaving California is because of the high tax rate,
and they're exploiting the lack of regulations that Texas has, and it's screwing over people like us because our appraisal for our houses will go up because the prices are going up.
Yeah,
so
but
the taxes,
you're getting businesses there. You're going to get jobs.
Growth it's going to turn us to California.
Yeah.
And what do you mean by that? What's wrong with California?
Growth makes the higher cost of living.
I would think California is your little paradise, though. Isn't that what you want? A big left wonderland?
We don't have California, but that's no. I mean, the thing is,
I mean, but here, I mean, from somebody from Germany, California is not leftist. I mean, you guys in Los Angeles, you have people sleeping under almost every bridge, right? I
agree.
And that's not leftist at all.
In poverty, we have homeless people growing around where I live.
That's unfair, corrupt, corporate.
Well, exactly.
Whatever you want to call it.
That's not true. Per 10,000, Germany actually has a higher homelessness rate than we do.
And Germany doesn't rank in the top 10 in the Freedom Index either.
And we do is California or what?
Than the United
I mean,
States.
we just don't. I mean, we have homeless.
James, embrace the data.
Yeah, but I would like to see.
I had to look.
I mean, that's absolutely not my experience at all. I mean, there are homeless in Berlin, one of the biggest cities or the biggest city in Germany, but they almost choose to be homeless because there are programs for them if they want, but it is a kind of culture to be homeless and to live free and that.
Yeah, my politics is pretty much based on data.
But in Los Angeles, you have.
One second. I'm gonna throw this up on.
Go for
Twitter for you real quick, if I can get my phone to work.
And these are the conversations I like when you put the evidence in front of my face.
Well, I just had to. The reason that I looked this up because I was looking at Article 25, Paragraph 1, and I'm like, we kind of do that, we kind of don't do that, because we do have. I mean, there is a lot of programs. We have a lot of there's a lot of welfare. There's a lot of assistance for women and children. WIC. There's a lot of unemployment benefits. There's Section 8 housing, which is, I mean, the wait list is incredible because there's so many people that need it.
And one thing we
But,
have better than
like,
California.
what I'm
is
saying is, like, I
gas.
really think that the U.S. is working towards that particular goal.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, is there like a difference? What
Hey
is
James,
it?
how
What's
much
the
does gas
comparison?
cost down there?
I think it's at like $5.50 a gallon.
Yeah, we have it's 340 here.
On the
So,
low end.
hey, we save money with gas. I'll you know what? I can concede that. Well, Houston is the energy capital of the world, so, but our grid, it's a little shaky.
Is that because of all the people showing up?
Yeah, all you
I think we
California
need to
people are
change
showing
the
up, messing up our
paradigm
grid.
on energy.
California or Texas.
Why am I not?
I mean,
hearing
are
that?
there? Where do you live, James? I mean, are
I
there a
live
lot of
in
homeless?
San Jose.
That's where I was
Like, are
born, dude.
are there a lot of homeless there, or how does it look?
There's more homeless in San Jose than, say, 10 miles north in Fremont.
But I mean, is it true, like when you walk around San Francisco, that people just shit on the streets and
Yes.
stuff? And
Yep.
but I mean,
It's
why
pretty
is
bad
that?
from what I've seen.
Why? I mean,
Why do they
why?
shit on the streets?
No, but why?
Because
Why
they
aren't
need
they
to go,
taking?
man.
Why? Yeah, but why aren't they? Why aren't there these social programs that you're talking about there? That's a very rich city.
Well,
I'll tell you
there's-
why.
Oh
What's
my
the
gosh.
problem?
I can tell you
There
why.
are-
If you're homeless, do you want to
Oh,
live
here
in
we
a
go.
hot state like Texas? Do you want to go to a cold state like
Yeah,
New
but
York?
that's not the point. The point is, why aren't politicians helping these people?
Because they're
Why
getting
don't?
overloaded. The climate's better to be homeless in California. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just like
but
human
it's better to
nature.
have it. But it's better to have an apartment than to live on the street.
I
You know,
think
so
they're being pretty
why
proactive
aren't
in
people?
California. I
But
think
they're not. People are shitting on the streets. I mean, it's horrible.
Well, I mean, there's
Well,
only so much you can do. I mean, but
there-
the
Well,
thing
you can do a
is,
lot more than that. That's for sure. I mean,
I think other states need to do their job to make sure people don't all go to California and
The-
burden California for all the homeless people that are going from other states.
yeah, but there.
Emilio,
I mean, technically, in
I
the
forget.
states,
What's your
there
handle
shouldn't
on
be
Twitter
homeless.
again?
The casual radical at
The Casual
ADPCC at ADPCC 1980.
ADPCC. Okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
sure. I mean, I think a lot of California receives the burden of other states through the homelessness. I mean,
Yeah,
bet
but
you-
I mean, you have
as a country, we
billionaires.
need to do.
You,
Alright.
but you have
Sorry, I was
billionaires walking
distracted.
past these people. I mean,
It's everyone's
So
responsibility to handle
Oh,
that
they
issue.
definitely don't walk past
but-
them. They get in limos or take helicopters.
But that's disgusting. It's
It is.
completely unfair. I mean,
well,
and,
so here's the thing.
and these
there's-
people living there are not free in the land of the free. Let's just put
Yeah.
it that way.
I
I mean,
they're-
there's
they're very free in the land of the free. They're shitting on the street. But
yeah, but because they have to. I mean, they don't have a
Well,
choice.
there are different
they aren't
amounts
free.
of there's different amounts of public restrooms available.
Yeah, but I don't
Um,
mean restrooms. I mean apartments. I mean low income housing and also money for their
There's-
children. Like just I mean we in Germany there's a thing called Kindergeld. It's money for every child you have, and you get it no matter what. Why
Like a
can't
universal
America do
basic
that?
income?
So
Yeah,
we have that in
exactly.
form of like a tax credit, and actually you can collect that in kind of throughout the year in your paychecks
Okay, well we
in
get
terms
it.
of less taxes
Well,
withheld.
we get it deposited. Everybody gets it deposited in their bank account.
That's
You don't have to
awesome.
wait a year to get it.
I don't know. So here's the thing. Like, what's the population of Germany?
82 million.
82 million. And how many on top of that? Like, how many kind of like undocumented immigrant residents do you
Well, I
have?
mean, since 2015, I think we've gotten 1.5 million refugees because the United
Right.
States invaded Iraq and Syria. So,
Right.
but
So in the United States, we have about 325 million people, and I think our undocumented resident number is probably going to be more in the 10 plus million. And people kind of come in every day. So we have like a huge dense population to deal with. The amount of homeless people that we have, about 50% of them are mentally ill. And I can't remember if it was the 60s or 70s, one of those decades, we basically shut down hospitals that are supposed to be for those people.
80s, the Reagan years.
actually think it was before that, but
Yeah.
maybe you're right.
Hmm.
And
Why?
so
To
that's
save
a
money or
huge
what's it?
contributor. And then in
Hmm.
California specifically,
I'm not allowed to
some of our
incriminate the
economic
side.
green policies prevent us building more. It slows down building. Like we're trying to make more, low income housing and things like that. But it's very easy for someone to be like, oh, this measure of, some kind of EPA regulation, some kind of economic policy, it's very easy for them to like blow a whistle and say, hey, there's just too much of this in this little bit of soil, so you got to
Yeah,
wait
or
10
you're going to
years.
kill some kind of small animal.
Yeah, something like that. So we have a stagnated housing development market here, which is also
Hmm.
why the general price of housing has gone way up.
I think
So,
California is suffering the
This one's
burden
so-
of other states.
and we also have a lot, that too.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be
Because
homeless in the United States, California is the place to do it.
so we all need to help out.
I agree.
But people
I would like to
won't.
get hospitals back open. I would like more education and
addicts?
treatment for mental illness. I would like much better help for drug addicts, like, decriminalization for one.
I mean, I can
Um,
just imagine all of us, let's say, I think, Emiliano, you agree? I mean, who are compassionate in that way that you're speaking, are for this thing. I mean,
yeah.
right? But so who's not for it and why? I mean, just,
Well, California is trying to do what they can do. But I
yeah.
have a state
Hmm.
where they ship immigrants and they're going, let's go send them to DC. So they don't like to take care of the issues here. They like to politicize the pain of others.
Well,
And
in fairness to that, though, Emiliano, to what your state has done there, Biden on his campaign trail said, come on in, just make a run. And
what?
he inflated the amount of people coming through that
Why did he
border.
say that? Because they had the right to look for amnesty inside the country legally. And Trump used executive orders to make sure that right for immigrants was denied. So they're supposed to wait across the USA now. But, and even Ben Shapiro recommended something that was a lot more humane. Just hire more judges to just take care of their cases. And if you have to do what you have to do after that, at least they have their day in court and bye. But they're lured over here, dude.
Germany took in 1 million refugees. I mean, probably 70% people who have entered Germany in the last few years. I mean, that's what we do. And I mean, why can't America organize something like this? What's okay, the population of America is to 4 times. So that would be like in the last 5 or 6 years that America would have 4 million refugees, and Germany takes care of them quite well. I mean, with programs, with education programs, stuff like that, it works. It's organized. I mean,
I don't
why
think
can't
people are as
America
honest about the
just say,
issues. That's why.
yeah,
If you
but
ask some of
why?
my
There's
family
definitely
members,
a
they don't know
large
how immigration
contingent.
works.
There's a large contingent of Americans that are just don't give a crap. There's
Well,
a large
there's a reason for
contingent
that,
I agree.
James. There's a reason
are
for
just
that.
like, F immigrants,
Why do they say that?
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
We
that's
had
the
a
same.
politician that ran on saying Mexicans were rapists and criminals and all that. So yeah, that's why I don't mind
it dates back
incriminating one
further
side
to
than the
that
other.
though, because my wife was treated very poorly in 2003
by limousine liberals.
but yeah,
So-
I mean, I've been through it with immigration, to the point where like I came to a point where like mental exercise in an Einsteinian kind of way where I'm like,